Hey you guys, it's Moonlander, and this is my life in movies tag video. I was tagged by Matthew Movies, and I really enjoyed watching his video. I found it interesting, and I find the questions just to be interesting in general because, I like movies a lot, and anybody that I've watched do this, you can tell they like movies a lot and they really enjoy making this video. Okay, the first question is first steps. The first film you remember seeing as a kid. And I don't, for me, I tried to think of the first movie I saw in the theater, and it was either Big or Dick Tracy. And I specifically remember going to both of those movies at a young age because when I saw Dick Tracy, my brother was an infant and he's 5 years younger than me. And I remember he wouldn't stop crying, so they had to keep taking him out of the theater. And then Big, I remember there was a scene where a woman's like taking her shirt off or something, and my mom made me turn around in my seat, but I could see it in the projector. Okay, and then for a teenage crush, which actress or actor did you have a crush on? I would say probably Denise Richards, and I think that developed when I saw Starship Troopers, and then eventually Wild Things. Okay, bad choices, good outcome. A movie you watched and ended up enjoying even though you wanted to hate it, and I would probably say every Kevin Smith movie. And then for the first date, when you went on a first date, what movie did you see? Yeah, I didn't really date much, but the first movie I saw with my wife was Shutter Island. That was an enjoyable experience. Okay, and then the fifth question is home comforts. What movie reminds you of time with your family? And I would have to say it would either be Billy Madison or Happy Gilmore. Because, my parents were divorced, so I spent time in two households, and both households had both of those movies. So I don't know how many times I've seen them, but it was over 20. Okay, and number 6 is first heartbreak. What movie really upset or hit you more than you thought? In the first movie, I remember kind of really, hurting my feelings would be this movie called The Cure. And it was about a young boy with HIV. And like at the end of the movie, they're like, him and his friend are messing with the nurses like he's unconscious. And then finally, he really is unconscious and he's dead, and his friend realizes it, and it was just sad. And then I watched it like years later. I didn't really think it was that good of a movie. But yeah, that's the first movie I remember. It put a tear in my eye. Okay, and then for leaving home, what movie was the first you watched without your family? And I had to think about this too, because so I just decided to pick the movie I saw when I was going to school. And that was after I moved out of the house, to go to school. And I remember going and seeing Gangs in New York with my friend, and we were like the only people in the movie theater except one guy sitting way behind us. And I'll never forget it because eventually in the movie, there's a scene where Leonardo DiCaprio like cuts his friend's throat and the blood's like excessive. And this guy behind us was quiet the whole movie, but at that part, he started laughing like a maniac. And then it caused me and my friend to laugh like maniacs as well, just because we thought it was so funny that he was laughing at that scene. Okay, and then number 8 is Good Times. What movie do you watch most and why? And for that one, I'd probably say Rounders with Matt Dillon and Edward Norton. And it's a poker movie. And I just watched it like less than a week ago, and I've watched it like throughout my life ever since it was released, just because I really like poker, and I think that movie's well done. It's the best poker movie I've ever seen, and I really like Matt Damon and Edward Norton's characters in that movie. Like, Edward Norton's a total sleazeball in it, and I just love it. And it also was kind of... And the last time I watched it, I realized that's kind of a story about, being in I don't know, it was... I found the relationship between Matt Damon and his girlfriend even more interesting. Like, she was not supportive at all of him being a professional poker player. And, he ended up following his dream to be one. Well, on one hand, you're like, is that like a legitimate life goal to be a poker player? It's probably not the most responsible choice. But on the other hand, it was his dream and he followed it. So, I don't know. It's just kind of thought-provoking. Okay, and then number 9 is learn a new language. And what is your favorite non-English language movie? And for that one, I would say my favorite non-English movie would have to be the French movie Inside. And it's a horror movie. And to me, it's like one of the best horror movies I've ever seen. It is extremely brutal and terrifying. It's not for the faint of heart, that's for sure. But, yeah, it's like one of the best horror movies I've ever seen. I read not too long ago they're remaking it for an American release, but I don't understand how they think they're gonna top it or equal it. I would find that hard to imagine. Okay, number 10 is Can't Leave the Sofa. What series on TV got you hooked? And I had to think about this for a while. I'm pretty bad about watching television series. Like, I mean, I really enjoy Game of Thrones, but we have like the latest season on Blu-ray, and we've had it for like months, and I just don't feel like watching it. I don't know why. But if I had to say which one I had a hard time going to bed, like on a weeknight for work, watching, and that would definitely be either, I believe it was from Sundance, and it was this show called Rectify, and it's available on Netflix. And it was like about this guy, when he was a teenager, he got sent to prison for raping and murdering his girlfriend. And then 19 years later, like, DNA evidence gets him released. And it's about him, like, returning home. And he's, like, basically lost, his young adult life. And, like, I think he went to prison at 16. And it's just really interesting, like, because everybody moved on with their lives thinking he would never be a part of it. And it's just like a fascinating show. I only watched the first 2 seasons, and like I said, I'm bad about watching TV series. I think there's 1 or 2 more available to watch. I just haven't gotten around to watching them. But when I was watching it, I did not want to go to bed. I just wanted to keep watching it. And another one was the Netflix show Bloodlines. That one was really entertaining too. Okay, at number 11 is Sick Day. What movie do you watch if you don't feel well to cheer you up? And that for me is Gentlemen Broncos. It's by the guy that made Napoleon Dynamite. And this movie is like hilarious. It's like half a fantasy novel that this kid wrote, and then half his story about that story being stolen from him by this fantasy writer. It's hilarious, and the soundtrack's really good. That movie always cheers me up. Okay, number 12, looking to the future. What movies are you looking forward to seeing? I guess, well, of course, Alien Covenant. I can't wait for that. And I am interested in seeing the Dark Tower movie. I really enjoyed the first book in that series, but after that, it wasn't for me. But I'm not a big Stephen King fan, so, but I remember I really enjoyed the first book, so I'll at least see the first movie. It ought to be really cool. And then other than that, I've read that Amazon's like producing a remake of Suspiria, and while I don't expect it to have the same magic as the original, it'll still be cool to see somebody else try to make it, and you know, whether it's good or not, I mean, I still want to see it. Okay, number 13. If only what old movie do you want to see remade? And I've thought about this quite a bit because I wanted to make a list of horror movies I'd like to see remade. And one that I don't see people talk about this movie a lot, but this movie is called Hell House, and it's like from the 70s. I think it's rated PG, and I mean, it's pretty good, but I would love to see them remake it, and it's like one of my favorite horror books by Richard Matheson. And yeah, I would love to see them remake that. That would really get me excited. Okay, and number 14, End of the Road. What three films do you think you will always enjoy watching? I think Terminator 2, Alien, and There Will Be Blood. Okay, and then for the tags, I'm not sure if these guys have done it or not yet, but I'm not really sure if they want to, but I would like to tag Movie and Toy Collector 13. I'd be real curious for him to make this video. And then I'd also like to tag Reject Films. And if you guys have already done this, you know, I guess I'll look through and your videos and watch it, because I'd be real curious to see both of you guys do this video. Alright, see you guys on the next video.